Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Tekoa Talks. Today, we are jumping in to talk about marriage and how do we protect our marriages in this season. It's a weird season of COVID life and being together 24/7, and that's probably not what a lot of us signed up for. So today, we're going to just jump in and talk about some ways to stay healthy in this season, to protect your marriage. And if you're not in a married season, these are some things to think about for the future of ways that you can start setting up healthy habits now so that when you get to that season, you have some boundaries in place.
Well, and I think all of this pretty much applies when you're in a dating relationship as well. And,
Yes.
so whether you're in one now or you might be in the future, these could be some good things to keep in mind and start off on the right foot versus trying to fix things in the middle of the marriage. It's always easier to just start off in a good place.
Yes. Yeah, and I heard once sometime it's better to start doing the things now that you want to have in your marriage versus waiting until you're married to then start them, because it's harder to break those habits.
And it's like anything else. You say you're always going to do it and then you never do it.
Right.
And so getting off on the right foot is so important. And I think during this season, one of the things we wanted to talk about, one of the things we've been talking about off camera is how do you stay healthy? And so many marriages are struggling during this season. And I don't have the statistics to throw out right now for the camera, but the statistics of divorce and domestic abuse, unfortunately, and so many other things are not good during this season because people are spending so much time with their spouse. And one of the things I even wanted to start off by sharing with people is it's okay if it's harder during this season. You're not a bad person. You're not a bad partner. And even for a marriage, most people didn't plan on spending 24 hours a day in the same 1,000 square foot space as their spouse. And that doesn't make you a bad person if that's uncomfortable for you.
Right. And I think the first thing that we really wanted to highlight and talk about is professional help. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for help and seeking that help. I think that there's a reason why that's a profession for people, that's a job for people. But the reality is that sometimes we take on so much of the burden of, oh, it'll be better tomorrow. I can figure this out. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to do this thing. And the weight of that also can crush you. And so I think having professional help and seeking professional help, whether that be from counseling, whether that be from other resources of calling hotlines or whatever the case may be, whatever season you're in, I think that there is value in first taking that step of accepting help from somebody else and recognizing that we can't do this all on our own.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think the second thing to go along with that is who in your circle of friends, your community, who's giving you wisdom into your relationship, who that's in a similar season to you. From last week, we were talking about dating and I steal dates from your husband or, from other people of like, okay, that worked for you. I'm going to do that for us.
Yeah.
And as well as just who's in a season past you of who's made it in their marriage that you can learn from, who are you encouraging, and that community of people who's speaking wisdom into your relationship to let you know that, hey, that's normal,
right?
Or no, you should get some extra help with that, or this is some things that worked for us, or
yeah. And I think that's something that's really blessed us in not just like our friendship and a few other marriages, but we are also part of a marriage group where it's people who have been married for more years than us, people that have been married less years than us, people that have more kids than us, people that love kids than us. Like, we're all in similar age groups, but we're in different seasons of life. And I think it's been so great to get to share with each other and also have people that we can reach out to be like, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this. Like, I think you guys have shared before that you've struggled with this. How did you overcome this? How did you guys work through this? But even just also to have people to share life with. I think there's so much joy and beauty in marriage and getting to celebrate other people's marriages and cheer people on and getting to enjoy the good and also the struggles. And I think that when you have that community, you're so much stronger because you recognize that everybody fights sometimes and everybody has struggles. It's not always the Instagram perfect little bubble of flowers and date nights and all the things, but like, marriage is work and marriage is hard, and there's so much value in putting in the work to work through that. And like we talked about, I mean, most people used to have work that was an outlet or hobbies or different things. You weren't with your spouse 24/7, but now in COVID life, you're both working from home, and maybe you have kids that are working from home, or you have roommates that are working from home. And now you're trying to navigate how do you survive 24/7 together? Like, that's not what I signed up for, but we're trying to figure it out. And so I think recognizing, one, that's not normal. Like, none of us have lived through pandemic life. That's a new thing. And two, like, it's okay to seek some of those other things, like find some new hobbies and find some things.
Yeah, that leads perfectly into, I wanted to talk about just caring for yourself and how important that is to your relationships,
Right.
whether that's even your friends or your roommates or you're dating, or, you know, for sure in a marriage. Even like for me as a father, if I'm not taking care of myself, then I can't take care of my daughter.
Right.
And so it's important to just all of our relationships that we're taking care of ourselves and finding the time. And, you know, because even some of us aren't stuck at home. Some of us, our jobs continue to exist outside of the home, and maybe not that much has changed, but other parts of life have. Like, you can't go play basketball anymore, or you can't go to the gym, or you can't do whatever your hobbies were, or you can't meet up with your friends and go to a restaurant. Thankfully, I think we can do that again outside, and we live in California, so it's possible to do it outside. But what are the ways that you're doing to take care of yourself? How do you communicate that to your significant other of, hey, this is what I need to do to be healthy, and you're on the same page of, I'm going to go do this sport or go for a walk with a friend outside, or what are those things?
And I think it's good to recognize that that's not being selfish, but that's self-care.
Yeah.
And that you used to have that built into your day. You used to have those times apart. And like you said, maybe you are still going to work and things still kind of feel normal, but there are other things that don't. And so making sure you carve out that time and communicate that. I think last week we talked a lot about, you know, communicating expectations. That goes along with the self-care. There are times where I call my husband and I'm like, honey, I need you to come home. I need you to take care of Dougie. I just need a minute. And then there's other times where we plan it ahead. Like this last week, my husband was like, I really want to go play pickleball. And I'm like, okay, what do we do to make that happen? And no, we're not like 80-year-old people playing pickleball. This is like a cool thing to do.
It's like, if for people who don't know, it's like if tennis and ping pong had a baby,
yes,
it's pickleball.
Yes. And so we made sure to carve that time out in our week, and we planned ahead, and we made sure that he had that to look forward to, because that's something that he needs to be healthy in this season. And so I think it's good to be able to communicate that and work together so that it's built into whatever schedule you have.
That's really good. Well, hopefully these are some things that can be encouraging in your relationships. We're glad you joined us for another week, another time for Lauren and I to talk about some things that we've learned. Hopefully these can be an encouragement to you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. Let us know what you're doing to stay healthy in your relationships. We said this last week, we like hearing and getting ideas from other people because it helps us. So let us know, engage with us, and we hope you'll be back next week.